Good morning, everybody, and thank you so much for joining me on today's edition of Sigma Sunday. I want you to ask yourself a question. When was the last time you thought you or your work was good enough? My name is Rebecca Sonnenberg. I am a licensed clinical social worker, and I am here to hopefully get you into a place where you feel like a better leader, a better entrepreneur, even maybe a better business owner. So today, the reason I'm asking you to reflect on that is I want us to look at the trap of being perfect, being a perfectionist. This is probably one of my favorite things to help people with and talk about because this is one that I struggled with and I still do. It's definitely something that is hard for me not to hyper-focus on things and really want them to be 100% perfect, or it never feels good enough. So when I talk to people about this, I kind of want to look at it in two different directions, especially as a business owner. The image that we're putting out, right, that if we're perfect or there can't be any mistakes or everything has to be a certain way, that causes everybody around us to then also feel that same way, right? They're not allowed to be human. They're not allowed to make mistakes. And that's something that I've gotten feedback on in the past, that people feel like they have to show up in the most perfect way humanly possible, or else they're dead to me. And as a leader, that doesn't feel good. Just as a human in general, that doesn't feel very good. So where do we start to allow ourselves to be human so that those around us, especially those that we're leading, feel that they're able to do the same thing? I think that for me was probably the biggest helper in my perfectionism trap, was getting the feedback. And you can do this a variety of different ways. You can have this come from maybe just somebody that you're very close with, maybe somebody that you also work with who can say in a very kind and loving way what they're noticing and how you might make things a little bit more manageable. And it can come from evaluations from your staff too. I think if we are asking people to let us lead them, we are asking them to meet with us and let us tell them what they need to do better or how they need to fix things, then we should also be able to do that as the leaders. So asking your staff to feel comfortable in an anonymous way of saying like, hey, here's what I think you could be doing better. Or if they feel comfortable sharing with you what they think you should do in a better way. But this just helps you to be able to see that you're human too, and that being perfect is actually it's really stupid. It's never going to happen. It doesn't matter how magical you are, how many trainings you have. At the end of the day, you being perfect is kind of boring and it doesn't make any sense. And I think when we allow ourselves to look at our imperfections and say, oh, okay, now that actually, that makes me kind of cool, or that makes me different, or that makes me more unique. That gives me more empathy, whatever that may look like. I think that's really, really helpful for those who are watching you. It also takes a load of stress off of you. Trying to be perfect is exhausting. It will make you sick. It will make you eat yourself from the inside out, all for a goal that's super unattainable. I've talked about this in past episodes about, feeling like you're an imposter. And sometimes this can kind of come up with that at the same time of like, I'm not good enough. I have to be perfect. If I'm not, then I'm not actually as good at this as I think. So I think having a partner who can share with you, hey, these are some really great things I think you're doing. These are some areas that you might need to work on a little bit. And I think really sitting with people who you supervise and having that human aspect of like, hey, this may not have been my best meeting or my best moment, and I want to do better, and I appreciate you guys sharing that with me. To me, that always opens a different kind of door and allows people to feel like they can share more with you. I think the other thing is really looking at where this started for you. A lot of people who are perfectionists, this comes from a place of trauma sometimes. Sometimes it comes from a place of just having a parent who was very particular and very hard on the way that they viewed you and what you did. It can also come from a place where if you grew up in a home where your value was seen by what you achieved or what you did, those can all lead to things like this. And if you can start to look at the root, which we've talked about, that always helps us to figure out what's going on with the rest of the tree. And that's going to take some time. That's going to take a lot of kindness and love for you and for where that started. Because if your perfectionism started in a place of a parent not believing in you or being hard on you, that's rough. I can remember teaching myself how to read because my dad thought it was ridiculous that I didn't know how to read by the time I got into kindergarten. which by all standards, kindergartners don't really know how to read very well. And so I practiced a lot, and I got to a place where now I love to read, and it's one of my favorite things. I'm also very dyslexic though, and I wonder sometimes if that had a little bit to do with it. And it definitely plays into a place of me feeling like if somebody says I can't do something, I feel like I have to go really far to prove them wrong. And if I don't do it at a level that's perfect, I will beat myself up, right? And that's why I was saying a lot of this takes some kindness and some inward looking of like, where did that come from? How much value do I actually want to put on what that person or people thought about me? And when you think about the people you love the most, how perfect are they? Realistically, I think when we think about people, even our heroes, right? Some of the greatest things about them is how imperfect they are, how they're silly, or how they might make mistakes. And I think when we don't allow that for others and we don't allow that for ourselves, that starts to trickle down to the people that we're supervising, the people we're watching over. And like I said, as a business owner, the amount of things that you have to keep track of and the things that you have to constantly be pivoting on, trying to go at that at a level of perfection, it will destroy you. So what are the things that I would like you to just take a step back and look at is how often are you giving yourself grace when things are not perfect? How often are you giving grace to those around you when things are not perfect? And where did this start for you? Why does this matter so much? And realistically, when have you ever been perfect? Could you also take a second and look at some people that you love and find the things about them that aren't perfect that you love, and then turn that onto yourself and look in the mirror and find those within you? So those are just a few of the things. If you like this, please follow us. Please like and subscribe, share with your friends. And if there's things that you've done or things that you're like, hey, this was a really big help, please let me know. I always love hearing from you guys and hearing the things that work for you. And as I continue to work on not being so hard on myself as well, I will always relay to you that this comes from a very personal place as well. So thank you guys so much for joining, and I can't wait to see you next week. And remember, your imperfections are what make you beautiful. Thanks, guys.
Amigos, amigos, amigos. Solo